I'm Fernando, and this is NASA's vehicle assembly building that I've been recreating in true detail in Minecraft. This building was created during the Apollo program to assemble the Saturn V rockets before they were then driven out onto the launch pads and launched off into space. Construction finished in 1965. So this building is split into two main areas. It's the low bay at the front here and the high bay area at the back. Painted on the front of the high bay area is an American flag and the NASA logo, which is known as the NASA meatball. Moving down into the low bays, there are 8 checkout cells. These are used to drop off small parts of the rocket so they can be inspected and stored before being taken down into the high bays where they get stacked on top of each other and assembled into a full rocket. On the left here in cell 2 is a clean room, which I'll cover in a bit more detail in a future video. And on the right in cells 5 and 6, there is a workshop and some office space as well as another clean room. Above them, you can see these red platforms left over from the Apollo program. These fold down around the rocket body so workers can get up close and work on each level of the rocket. Behind the checkout bays are areas K, L, M and N. They originally held various offices and labs during the Apollo program and are now mostly used for storage. We'll cover these in a future video, and I have some exciting discoveries to go over then. Moving down the transfer aisle into the high bay area, on either side of us there are big structures called transoms, which separate the transfer aisle from the high bays behind it. So here we can see high bay 2, high bay 1, high bay 3 and high bay 4. Each high bay is used for stacking together all the parts of a rocket before these huge doors are opened. That takes about 45 minutes. And then it is slowly driven out all the way to the launch pad and launched off into space. On either side of the high bays is a structure called a tower. And so there is a tower here, going all the way up to the top of the building for a total of 6 towers labelled Tower A, B, C, D, E, F. Each tower has a staircase that goes all the way up to the top of the roof, and a tower that goes all the way up at the front. Starting back down in the transfer aisle, as we go up, we can see various catwalks that span the length of the transoms, as well as some specialised catwalks here, which is used to access the transfer aisle crane. This crane can lift 175 tonnes and can move the entire length of the transfer aisle. So it's used to transfer equipment from the low bay checkout cells to outside each of the high bays, where it can then be picked up by even bigger cranes up the top to take them up over top of the transoms and into each high bay to be stacked up as part of a rocket. Here we're at floor 16. We can still see the towers rising up to the top of the building. And we can also see there are catwalks that span across between the towers. Which takes us all the way to the top of the towers, where we can see where there will be some high bay cranes, and I'm just currently working on what those might look like at the moment. I found this website, NASA Tech. This website has lots of photospheres inside the vehicle assembly building at points that I haven't seen before. Here there are a number of different photospheres at different vantage points, and what I was able to do is locate these in Minecraft, put down a target block, and then I can zoom around, look in detail and just paint what I see. So here you can see all the target blocks that I have for the vantage points from the NASA Tech website, and these allow me to just get in the right place, switch back and forth and start to paint in all of the detail. One of the vantage points that I found was in the catwalk across between towers B and E at level 34. Now this is the place where we looked at last video as the people went across to get into the elevator to get access to the roof. And one of the things I couldn't quite work out in that video was exactly where that roof elevator was. But if we look carefully here, we can see that the elevator is bolted onto the side of the tower and is actually inside the transfer aisle. And in fact, what we can do is we'll just drop down to this place over here in another photosphere and we can confirm that. Here we're on floor 32 inside tower B, and you can see the elevator is indeed on the inside and it goes all the way up to the roof. So this is how I've changed things, and I've put the elevator inside the transfer aisle, bolted onto the side of the tower, going up all the way to the roof. Another thing that I found is I found an interview with Don McCoon, who was an original crane operator when the vehicle assembly building was originally used back in the Apollo era. And he talked about how they would have to get up to and into the cranes. So I'll just play you a clip from him, and he explains how he gets up there, and we can confirm if we could recreate that.
I saw an astronaut walking around. She was looking up, looking up, looking up. I said, would you like to go up there and look down? She goes, oh yeah, I'd love to. Her name was Mae Jameson.
Okay.
So I brought her up, and we go up through the elevators. You go up to one elevator to, I think it's, the last elevator you go on, I think you get off at the 36th floor. I got my cheat notes here. Yeah, you get off to the 34th floor. Then you get into the little small elevator, and then you get off on the 36th floor. And then you go up a catwalk. Back then it was a catwalk to go up to the crane. And you walk down the catwalk to the spiral staircase, I'm sorry, to the crane. And then you walk down there, and I'm walking down there with her, and I happen to think, maybe I should turn around and see how she's doing. And she had a white knuckle grip on both handrails. And there's only one handrail up there. The one on her right was the 480 volt. It was an insulator.
Yeah.
Okay, so but it's still not the best place to hold on to.
Right,
Especially when you hold on to something metal on the other side.
So she was an astronaut who was scared of heights, but she was okay. But what did we learn from this? We learned that they went up the elevator to the 34th floor, which we know is this one. They went across the catwalk into the small elevator and up to the 36th floor. 35, 36. And then they went up a spiral staircase up onto the main catwalk that only has one rail and has high voltage electrics on the other side. Another photosphere I found on NASA Tech was in a thing called the subroof. So here there's an entire level with space to crawl around in just underneath the roof. And running down the entire length of the transfer aisle is a 3,600 kilogram, 116 meter long steel I-beam, painted white, with logos for the US Army Corps of Engineers, the American Bridge Division of the United States Steel Corporation, has the NASA logo, and it has the subcontractors Morrison, Knudsen, Perini, and Hardman. This beam was originally on the ground in front of the building, and they let all of the contractors who worked on the VAB sign it before they lifted it up into place and installed it. Here is my interpretation of the subroof, with some signs for each of the logos. And really it's just a big roof a little bit underneath the real roof. I imagine they would use the small elevator to get access to the subroof just underneath the roof. And it just has a lot of spaces with different pipes and access to maybe get to these vents and work on them, as well as this long I-beam traveling the entire length of the transfer aisle. Some of these vantage points let us get quite up close. So up on level 32 in Tower B, we've got a really good view of the elevator that we looked at before, but we can actually move all the way around and see there's this kind of box thing here, there's this fencing, get kind of good glimpses across into the other high bay. You can tell kind of which of these levels are filled in with concrete and which of them are empty. And use that knowledge here just to paint in all of the same detail that we can see. As always, if you have any feedback, ideas or encouragement, just let me know. And have a great day.
Bye.